Hello, YouTube land. It's Charles, obviously. Um, so I made some interesting videos about MBTI, and it turns out I had my type wrong the entire time. It was revealed to me from a bunch of people in a forum I'm in of the vibe I had, so I asked them for why and the details, and they had some good explanations. And then I read the profile, and then I read about how the cognitive functions manifest. And I'm not an NF apparently, which at first was a shocker, but actually it makes a lot more sense after doing some, real research and understanding it all. I'm not an NF. I'm actually an SP temperament. I'm an artisan, which would make sense because my life is all about the guitar and music and creating and being in bands and music and stuff. So I'm an artisan. Um, means like I said, it means I'm an artist. For me, that's guitar. Okay, so I am not an INFP, and to the few people out there that thought I was an ENFP, which is only like two or three that actually have thought that. Sorry to bust your bubbles, but I'm not that either. Just because I talk and get on stage doesn't mean I'm an E. In fact, I'm not even an NF. And I'm definitely not an ESFP. They have a different vibe. They're very. I mean, we're sensual, but they're like the sensual. Like they, if it didn't come out 20 minutes ago, they don't like it, kind of deal. If it, if it's not, if it didn't come out yesterday or 5 minutes ago, then don't talk to them about it because it's irrelevant now. That's ESFP, very, very in the moment, very much about, sensual pleasures, the nice things, everything top quality kind of deal. That's extroverted sensing dominance. Okay, but we will talk about what an ISFP is. First off, my disclaimer: you're more than your four-letter code. Nothing can truly define you. All this will do is tell you how you process information. Okay, you're a lot more than how do I explain it? You're a lot more than your MBTI. It's just a very mild metrics of how you process information, and your lifestyle might be a manifestation of some of that. But there's also a lot more parts of you that are totally just your own thing. So don't let that deter you. So that's my disclaimer about MBTI. Okay, so what does it mean to be ISFP? We are called the artist and the composer for a reason, okay? Because, like most ISFPs, we're known for really being artistically expressive, whether it's through actually painting and drawing, or some of them are tattoo artists, or through playing an instrument, like playing guitar, playing piano, writing songs. Maybe some write lyrics, maybe some sing. Regardless, we are the artist. That's what we do. We're very much of the artisan temperament, and we love to create things. My dad's an ISFP, and he is a welder, but he's very artistic. He can make toys out of metal, which he's done that before. He made my brother and I toy airplanes or whatever. So ISFPs are definitely known for their art. That is the main thing. And he's also likewise a guitar player. So I guess we'll dive deep into the cognitive functions of what an ISFP really is, and we will go from there. Okay, now, like the INFP, we lead with introverted feeling, which means values, emotions, subjective understandings. Um, it's also why we have the ability to empathize with people. We understand, how they're feeling in their situation because we feel things so intently that we are often emotionally intelligent. We have strong emotional intelligence. Any FI dominant type is going to be good at helping you with your problems, or at least listening and understanding and empathizing, because we feel things so deeply. And as long as we have enough life experience, we're going to be able to really connect with you and your experience just through things we've been through. So FI is a very complex function. It's very hard to explain, but I'll do my best to tell you how I experience it. It's very internalized, unless you're someone I'm really comfortable with, and I might tell you how I might feel about a situation. But it's a very internal function. It's very complex. It's being led by your values, your own desires, your own wants, your own needs. It's being led by your emotions. It makes you susceptible to empathizing with the underdog. You're really going to feel for people that are suffering, and FI is going to drive you to really be compassionate, but it's going to have you stay true to your morals and to yourself, and you're going to be very individualistic. You really don't care about the social norms. You walk to the beat of your own drum, kind of deal. I mean, you are you, and you're very unique. So that's another part of FI. And it also makes us kind of self-absorbed. We don't mean to be, but we're like really focused on what we want, how we feel, our desires, you know, all that first. Not that we're selfish, but we're just kind of geared towards everything must resonate or have some kind of alignment, or we're not going to want to really participate. Whether that's right or wrong, that's just how FI works. So, and FI for me is so internalized, I don't really show any emotions outwardly. It's more on the inside, which is where we're fixing to go to the next function, extroverted sensing, because that's kind of that's the tool. Sorry, my bed's wobbly. That's the tool I use to express the FI. Is my extroverted sensing function. It's how I get those emotions out. I do it through my SE. Okay, so that would be the auxiliary function for an ISFP. SE manifests in a lot of ways. It makes us definitely in tune with the moment, and which I was shocked to find out that I was a sensor, but not really, because I still do daydream and zone out and drift off a bit, because FI just makes you do that. But really, compared to somebody with NE, I don't zone out as badly as I thought I did. When I was younger, before I had medication, yes, I zoned out a lot. But we're actually very focused on what's really going on. So SE, it's got a lot of different manifestations, because it likewise is a lot more complex than what people tell you it is. SE is very literal, it's very concrete, and it wants details. Anytime I'm getting involved in something, if I'm going to go do something, I'm always like, okay, that's cool. When? Where? Who? What? I want all the details of what's going to happen. If I'm supposed to be somewhere, I want to know almost everything about the situation instead of just jumping into it. I want the details. I want to know how what's going to happen, or at least have a rough idea. I want details. I always want details. Or if you're explaining to me something, don't give me an abstract answer. Explain it to me in black and white terms. If somebody's like, this is this. Okay, that's cool. Why is it that? Can you give me some details that back up what you're telling me? This is this because blah, 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 blah. Go into the literal details. Give me some real SE. Extroverted sensing makes me appreciate beauty. I love beauty. I love, nature. I love driving around pointlessly just to enjoy the experience. I love being out on the open road. I love going to the parks, the secluded parts, anyways. And I love, you know, looking at the lake. I love going to the lake. I love seeing the water. I love seeing, the greenery. I love those kind of things. Or when I like a girl, I mean, every guy's kind of like this, but it gets a little deeper when you're an extroverted sensing type. I notice the fine details. Oh, she's 5'10". She's got long flowing red hair, pale white skin. She's got an hourglass figure. Her breasts are this size. Her voice sounds like this, or her voice is beautiful sounding. So therefore, it gives me a comforting feel. Whatever you might say. Extroverted sensing, which is weird. ISFPs, even though we're introverted, we still might get bored a little bit. When you have strong SE, you still need a little bit of stimulation. It could just be music, or it could be just driving through the park by yourself. But having SE, you need a little bit of something to excite you. Not like as much, not like a whole lot of it, but just a little bit of something. Extroverted sensing, you tend to be so focused on your reality that when things aren't going the way you want them to, you feel kind of stuck because you don't see the bigger picture. You don't realize that there is going to be a tomorrow, and not everything's going to be so stagnant. So you feel like, well, that's all there is. I'm stuck at this situation that I hate, or this job, or whatever it might be, because you're not looking to the future to realize, oh wait, there's something else around the corner. So that's another manifestation of SE. Another manifestation of SE is my musicianship. I love playing guitar and writing music. Like I said, I don't show a lot of emotions outwardly, like in the literal sense, but if I'm feeling bad, you hear it in my playing. My playing comes out very powerful, very emotional, and you can feel the emotion in my guitar playing. Or at least we try to put our emotion into our art. And that's how we cry, is through our art, through our painting. You might not see an ISFP literally tear up because FI is so hard to really express in the literal sense. But if I play my guitar and I'm just doing a solo for like an hour straight, then chances are I'm probably feeling some heavy emotions. That's how we express our feelings. It's through our art. So I guess that's it on the extroverted sensing side of things. Now we're going to talk about introverted intuition, which is our tertiary function. And that's a very interesting function, honestly. Because some ISFPs might actually prefer NI over SE because of that whole looping and your whole jumpers. And I sometimes feel like I've done that before too. It just depends on what season of life I'm in. But NI, gosh, many, many different manifestations. Anything from just struggling with paranoia and worrying about something that you fear is going to happen, but it never does because your NI is kind of underdeveloped, or anything from kind of having hunches your whole life, because that's what I've had, but not completely trusting them because they don't seem real. Because you're like, it's not possible to have a hunch, because in your mind, whatever your NI is telling you, when you're a strong sensing type, you're like, but that's baloney. But then you start seeing these things a lot. You're like, well, maybe it's not. And you're like, how did I know that? And of course, I give glory to God. I'm a Christian, so he gets glory first. He might be using my NI, but like over the years, I've always had hunches, and I've always kind of questioned them. But a lot of times, I kind of just know where things are going in a very literal way, Unlike NE users, they get this shotgun blast of all these random possibilities. We see more of a straight line. Like introverted intuition, when you're alone, you start seeing the bigger picture. Like all these things that happen to us throughout our day or throughout our week or whatever. When we're by ourselves, we start really ruminating and putting together all the pieces of this info, and all of a sudden you've got the big picture. It's like, oh, I just had a revelation about this thing and about that thing, and I had a revelation about that thing. And you start seeing the overarching theme behind everything that's going on, and you start getting the bigger picture. because NI is constantly putting that together. Um, so that's kind of another manifestation of NI. It also helps us with goal setting because we are kind of in the moment. Although I never realized how in the moment I really was because I have worried a lot about the future over the years, but it's never been in a really good way. When I've tried to think about the future, it's always caused some kind of stress or anxiety because I was, fearful. But as I've gotten older and my intuition's gotten stronger, I'm more or less embracing that side of me. So it's like, as I've gotten older, I start thinking a lot more about goals. It's like, okay, you're 32, but you don't like your job. So what are you going to do about it? So NI sees this vision of, okay, we're going to go to college for so many years. We're going to get our degree for after so many years. We're going to work as a teacher. And more than likely in this school district for so many years. This is what your benefits are going to be like. You see your benefit plan. I see everything down to like living in an apartment for a few years and then switching over to a house once I have enough money saved. It's causing me to think that much about my future, which I would never have done 5 or 6 years ago, honestly. And I noticed I started really developing, gradually in my late 20s because I started to understand other people's perspectives as well instead of just my own. I started being able to really see things from different angles. And I also took that same NI approach with my band. I'm like, okay, none of my bands have worked before in the past. We've always keep failing. So because of the NI, I said, okay, I learned in order to succeed, we have to take this seriously. So it starts goal producing. It starts showing you ways to improve your goals, your talent, or your vision. So NI for the ISFP is really just all about our vision of our individual future and our individual career paths or art or relates to our art. It's not so much about the whole world around us. It's more personal, but NI definitely manifests that way. It also is why I do find deeper meaning in a lot of things that are said to me. Like at first I'll take what you said at face value, but when I go and ruminate, I start to understand, oh, maybe this person meant something different. I start seeing all the different interpretations of how things really are. So yeah, I'd say NI, even though it's a child, it's kind of what helps us get out of the moment long enough to realize, okay, you can't just say, oh, well, I have this in my life. I work this job. I'm good. NI causes you to say, well, what about your future? Are you going to continue on the same path and go nowhere? Or are you actually going to think ahead? That's what introverted intuition helps the ISFP do. Now to our inferior function, extroverted thinking. Basically, for me anyways, maybe not every ISFP, I'm very unorganized. I suck at actually being task oriented. Like I don't like to do anything that feels like work. Once I'm home, I'm home. It's a horrible vice I have. I need to work on it. But like TE, I don't know how to explain it other than it manifests in laziness, not being organized, not making very many decisions based on actual logic, but making decisions based too much on the feeling. In regards of handling the tribe, I'm either very insecure about what people think about me to the point of worrying about it and it causes stress and anxiety, or I just really don't care about what people think. And in my projects I've been in over the years, I've always written everything to the point where I don't consult the tribe. I'm like, okay, I got a song for us. It's time for y'all to learn. And that's another example of not consulting the tribe, Or if somebody's like, Charles, can you do this thing for me? And for the most part, I really do want to do what is asked of me, but sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I forgot to do that for that person, or I forgot to do this for that person. You just forget because you're so hyper focused on your own thoughts and your own inner perspective. So, inferior TE, it either causes me to be very insecure with the tribe, and there's been times where the insecurities caused me to ask the tribe, even though I know what I'm going to do anyways, I've asked, should I do this? Because I'm going to. but it also causes me to really not only be insecure with the tribe, but not really care about what they think in a lot of other ways. Because a lot of times I am pretty stubborn and do things my own way, and so it's that whole self above tribe thing. I typically just do what feels right for me, and the tribe may or may not benefit from it. Not that we want to hurt anybody, but we do ourselves. We do what resonates, even if the tribe doesn't necessarily like it. And that could be a problem in some situations, like if you're in a band, you're writing everything and you don't consult the tribe. Hey, do y'all actually like this? Now, I do actually ask the band if they like it because I've learned from experience that you kind of have to. But old me would not have. It's just called I've learned from experience. But and another example of inferior TE is I'm not really good at being efficient, yet under stress I am hypersensitive to inefficiency. I don't like when people are not efficient. Like on the road is mainly where I notice it. I don't like a lot of stupidity, even though I'm often have my own bouts of stupidity. I hate when people drive bad, even though I can sometimes drive bad. So that's all the biggest things of inferior extroverted thinking, and I'm not very good at making impartial judgments. So that's just kind of how I see inferior TE. Anyways, thank you for watching this.